damn it. Right, well, I'm just going to have to do this. And I'm recording on my iPad as well. So, I'm not going to look at you, I'm going to look at this because I'm going to upload this tomorrow. So, it's still Wednesday the 11th of January. I've got my iPad down there that's doing Facebook, and I've got some very cheeky questions, cheeky comments from people, particularly Malt and Mike, because I wouldn't expect anything less of him. And I'm going to do Kavalan. Kavalan Solist. This was a very kind donation from Andrew AP Butler. For you guys on Facebook, this is what it is. Does the iPad auto-rotate? Yes, it does. So, Kavalan, for those on Facebook, I have just done Nantu Omar, which is the other Taiwan whiskey. And the reason that Nantu basically released a whiskey was because of these guys, Kavalan. So up to 2002, Taiwan tobacco and alcohol was controlled by the government, and they wanted to join the World Trade Organization, and in order to do that they had to get rid of the state ownership of that production. So the company that owned Nantu were the company that were in control. 2002 the regulations were lifted, and in 2005 the Kavalan distillery was founded by a corporate, it's basically a massive conglomerate called the King Car Corporation, whose founder was a guy called Tien Sai Li. For years had wanted to do a proper Taiwan whiskey, and as soon as the regulations were lifted he was in there like a shot. So the distillery itself is just on the edge of a town called Yilan, which is here, which is on the northeast coast of Taiwan, just south of Taipei. And they first started distilling in 2006, and then in 2008 was when their first whiskey was launched. So they brought in stills from Scotland, but I believe, unlike Nantu, which used malted barley from Scotland, I believe everything is from Taiwan, so that the barley, the whole lot, the water source, everything is pretty much local. So what I have here from Andrew is one called the Kavalan Solist Vino Barrique, and this is a version where they have used casks that have previously held red wine and white wine, re-toasted them, and then they've matured the whiskey in that. Now it's unaged, so there's no age statement, but they are they're pretty young because Taiwan's really hot. So it's another one of these where hot climate, it doesn't need to spend as long in casks, so they say, because it sort of matures at a faster rate. Now, I think they do this Vino Barrique in batches, because I've looked in 4 separate places to see double check what the percentage is for a start, and all the percentages have been different. I'm going to put a picture of the bottle up now of one that I found, but I don't even know if the bottles look different, so I don't know what version Andrew's got. But the whiskey shop are selling a bottle for 210 quid. Amazon are selling a bottle, bargain, 330 quid. You do get £39 off, so I think that's a really good deal. I'm sure you'll agree. So this is not cheap, and this is not their standard version. They have a standard version called Kavalan Classic, but I don't actually know how much that is in terms of, I would guess about 50 quid. Now apparently the Vino Barrique, whatever version that they had, at the World Whiskies Awards in 2015, won World Whiskey of the Year. So this is really highly regarded stuff, and Kavalan is one of these brands that just suddenly has taken off like a house on fire. It's winning awards left, right and centre, and it's the success of Kavalan that caused Nantu to turn around and go, oh crap, we need to start making whiskey. Because when they released in 2008, that was when Nantu started making whiskey themselves, because they suddenly realised, oh, we're actually missing out on a market, we need to get on with something. I'm not even looking at the Facebook comments because there's probably dogs abuse and all sorts. Right, so here we go with this. Now it's a really dark bottle, and being matured in red and white wine casks, I've got no idea what the colour's going to look like. And having done the New Zealand the other night, what we're looking at 2 nights ago, which was matured in a red wine cask and really was red winey and not to my liking at all, I'm not 100% certain whether I'm actually going to dig this or not. So I did have some water. I'm going to get some water. There we go, just in case, because this is going to be, anywhere between 55 and 58%. I don't know what the exact percentage is, but it's likely that it's going to need some. Colour-wise, and I'll put that up there for you guys, you might not be able to see it, but it's pretty there is a red tinge to it. There's a definite sort of, you could almost argue kind of like a reddy brown. I don't know, I wouldn't really call it attractive. It's a little bit odd, but I'll go with it. But there's something about it that just reminds me a bit of blood, but not in a nice way. I don't know, it's just kind of slightly off-putting me. I'm hoping it doesn't put me off tasting it, because no, Jesus. Okay, so it's not as fiery as I thought it might be, but there is a definite, it's more port, it's more, now what I don't know is what the red wine cask is. So I don't know whether it's kind of like a heavy red wine. Have I even had Taiwan wine before? Don't think I have. I could imagine it's going to be on the sweeter side because of the heat and the climate of the country, but that's just pure conjecture from me. I don't really have much of an idea, as you probably well know. But there is a definite, it's more of a sweet wine character. And with that white wine element as well, is what type of white wine it is. If it's a sweeter side, I could kind of understand, because there is a definite, there's a sweet, getting towards sherryness, but it's more of a kind of a porty type character. It's nice on the nose, and it's not obvious it's 55+% either. But on the palate, it's obvious it's 55+%. It's definitely going to need some water in it, but it's not really stripping the back of my throat. It just feels like it's masking some kind of flavour that's there, but it's very unctuous, it's very liqueur-y. There's quite a rich mouthfeel to it. And again, it really suggests to me that the red wine is a kind of more of a sweet red wine. The white wine is more of a kind of dessert wine. It's a very, very sweet, thick whiskey. This is a definite after dinner whiskey, very much a pudding whiskey. Take another sip before I start adding some water in. Yeah, it's definitely going to need water adding to it. The alcohol fire is just masking it too much. But there's a lovely rich sweetness to it. It does remind me of kind of like a Pedro Jimenez sherry, that sort of thing. Definite dessert whiskey. I can kind of understand why it's very, very popular. Now I'm going to try and add some water in. I don't know where my syringe has gone, so I'm going to try and do a little bit in there just to see if I can get that balance right, if I can knock that fire down and start bringing some of those sweeter flavors out. Because I'm hoping this is going to float my boat, because I do like my rich, sweet whiskies at times. Yeah, now it's come more sherried rather than winey. That red wine element's knocked down quite a bit. The dryness has gone. It's nowhere near as tannic as that New Zealand whiskey that I had the other day. That really was like you'd mix red wine and whiskey. This is definitely a cask influence rather than we've poured red wine in it, which that one felt like. It's definitely mellowed out, but it's still rich, and there's a definite honey character to it as well. Real kind of pure clear honey kind of comes through, and it's got that rich feel to it as well, just on the nose. Oh yeah, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it. That's so thick. It's thick and sweet and rich, and it would be brilliant with like kind of on the side of ice cream, like a really thick creamy ice cream, or a toffee pudding, or toffee pudding and ice cream, toffee pudding and clotted cream ice cream. Oh, that would be amazing. It's really, really good. If you don't like sweet whiskies, if you don't like heavily sherried whiskies, which this is getting towards, this probably isn't going to do you. It's so thick, so unctuous, so not quite liqueur, but it's getting towards that way. It's going to be too cloying for some, I think. It really is. It feels thick as it goes down your throat. Is it worth 339 quid a bottle on Amazon? Probably not. Is it worth 210? Well, no. I thought that was expensive because that's the whiskey shop, but then I saw Amazon and thought, actually, whiskey shop have got quite a good price on that. Would I pay 210 quid for anything? Probably not. But it really does make me intrigued to see what the other ones are like. It makes me want to go and find out what the standard classic is like, because that is, I can see why that's won awards, and I can see why that gets really good reviews. And considering how indifferent and ordinary and a little bit dull that Nantu was, my fear was that the Kavalan was going to be like that, and it just turns out that Taiwan whiskey actually isn't that good. But Kavalan, okay, it's based on one sample, but that is a fantastic sample. And if they've got that consistency across the rest of the range, they are doing a really, really good job. And Nantu really need to pull their socks up. So, very, very good stuff indeed. That is my world whiskies done. Taiwan finishes it off. I have 12 whiskies left, and all 12 of them are from Islay. We are very, very nearly at the end. I'm getting quite excited and nervous and tentative and a little bit scared about the 21st when I'll be finishing it off, but I'm sure it's all going to be worth it. We've got some amazing stuff to auction off. So please do tell everybody that you know, because there is a very good chance that you could pick up a bit of a bargain if you don't get any. If people put in a bid and nobody else bids, you can win it. So I'll do a separate video with everything on, explain the process. It's going to be run as a silent auction rather than me with a hammer spending 2 hours going through the vast amounts of bottles that I've got. So that should be up tomorrow, day after, something like that, just in time to give you everybody a week to put the bids in. Thank you everybody in Facebook. That was a weird experiment. I deliberately didn't look at any of the comments because I'd end up talking to these crazy nutters down here. And I shall see you at the next one when we shall start with Islay, and my wife isn't going to kiss me because I'm going to start smelling of peat and smoke and everything like that. So I'll see you then. Cheers.